going to throw my duties over to Jason, and he will be introducing our special guest.
Hello, hello. So delighted to introduce to Chicago's artist, Mr. Christopher Eccleston. So is this the first time that you two have been together since you were filming Doctor Who?
No, we were in a pub together.
Which one was it?
The famous French house. It's a very famous pub in Soho on Dean Street that was the centre of it was the centre when the French resistance during the Second World War, when they were outside France plotting. That's where they hung out. And also there's a rumour that de Gaulle went to the pub. This isn't really Doctor Who, is it? And also Francis Bacon, the painter, Lucian Freud, and lots of alcoholic actors. You used to drink then?
Yeah, it was a huge artistic pub, and there are still lots of people from our business turn up there getting drunk together.
When they're unemployed.
Yes. It used to be run by a man called Gaston, it really was.
If you go to London, go to the French house.
And you'll be welcome.
Yeah.
They embrace you.
And you'll be drunk as well.
I think Tom Bacon.
Look, there's a very, very famous, the Sunday Times magazine has been doing this article for at least 50 years called A Life in the Day Of. And Tom Baker did this brilliant, Google it when you get home, A Life in the Day Of, Tom Baker, Sunday Times, and he's photographed in the French for that article. And it's very Tom Baker.
I will definitely do that. What are your recollections of working together on Doctor Who? Because you did 3 episodes.
We worked together before Doctor Who.
A film called The Anchoress. But did we have to see, I don't think we did, we spent a lot of time in a car park, I remember. A very sandy car park.
We were living in an ex-old people's home. In
It's
a
very
tiny,
glamorous.
in a tiny village really called Mol, M-O-L. And it was when the Labour, we thought Kenneth was going to get in and he didn't. Yeah, nice too, I think. Anyway, Doctor Who.
Yes. We can go into Labour politics if you like, but possibly not. Okay. So you obviously knew each other, so was it a nice delight to see each other on stage?
We've never liked each other.
I'll just screw up most of these questions. And for both of you, because obviously there was a Sabine figure done and a Night Doctor figure done. Is it weird that you're actually action figures?
I don't think the Slovene are very action-packed. They're a bit tubby and, I mean, you can move, but I think that big belly, it's hard to be an action figure. But great to be replicated, yes, absolutely. I thought it was wonderful to tag. I did ask someone, because this can't speak now, because I'm very Slovene on the other side of our car.
Oh yes, very good.
And I guess it's
Did you ever want to be in the costume?
No.
No.
The guys, I told them earlier, the guys that were in the costumes were all over 6 feet. It was one woman, and they'd come stagger off, and we'd take their head off, and there'd be a pair of desperate eyes and a very sweaty forehead. And we'd give them water and a cigarette or whatever they wanted and pop their head back on and they'd have to go back on. So the only thing I ever had to do was the arm when I was grabbing Billy. And of course they were made for men, so I could barely reach the trigger for the fingers for the cord. poor Billy was subjected to me grabbing her neck, just in case.
How do you feel about your action figure?
I've got a couple actually, because
Four.
there's 4,
Yeah.
and there's also one for Destro. I've got a family.
Do you have them on your shelf above the fireplace?
What's really funny is there's one for heroes.
Yeah.
This is a true story. A friend of mine went into one of these comic book shops, and there was me as the character in Heroes, and then there was me as the character in Heroes as he started to become invisible. Right? So they didn't paint him. My friend saw it and said, "Can I have this half price? Because it's..." Genuinely thought it'd gone wrong.
Was there a third one where it was completely invisible?
You just bought an empty box. You just bought an empty box.
Yes.
That's my life.
How did you find the character of the Night Doctor?
I based it. There was one little detail. There he is. Swung it in. What was interesting is around that time, Russell T Davies used to wear a big brown leather jacket around that time, and he specified in the script, the first script, saying he's not dressed like, you know, a children's entertainer. He's just a normal. He looks normal with a leather jacket. So I basically. And of course, Russell's intelligence is off the scale. So I based it kind of on Russell in terms of the energy and the
Do you
brown.
feel that Russell was slightly writing himself in the part?
Yeah, I think I don't know what Annette thinks, but I do, and that's why, unfortunately, it's always been a boys' club, and that needs to change. We need to have a female Doctor Who showrunner, you know. So. Oh, we do. We absolutely do. I mean, there's one step, wasn't it, when Jodie became the Doctor, and another step with Shooty, but it has always been a boys' club. Anyway, enough of the politics. So I thought about Russell's otherness, which he has because of the level of his intelligence, and the other thing I remember I was running, and I thought I'm going to ask for an audition for Doctor Who, because I thought Time Lord, he's a lord of time, he's falling through time, so he doesn't have a home. I could play that. You know, I thought there is something sad at the core of it, because he's lost his planet, he's lost his people, which is why he loves humans so passionately, why he's always trying to save things, because he's lost everything.
Did you ever discuss Doctor Who with Russell while you were doing Second Coming?
No, we didn't. No, no, not at all. I remember one sequence in Second Coming where the character I played, who was the second incarnation of Christ, was receiving information as he was speaking on a football pitch, and my director was a little bit lost. So I asked Russell, I said, how's he getting this information? He went, oh, he's downloading it. And I thought, that's actually, it's quite abstract, but it's quite clever. I can work with that note. And I think I probably gained an insight to how Russell wanted the Doctor played from that note on the Second Coming. Am I making any sense?
Yes, you are. Oh, you're doing well. You're doing well.
I've not downloaded enough.
For both of you, did you watch Doctor Who as a child?
William Hartnell,
Oh.
Patrick Troughton, and I guess whiffled through it Tom Baker and then didn't beyond that.
You were too busy in the French house, weren't you?
Yeah. It was good.
I didn't watch it, no. I used to, the first Doctor I remember was Patrick Troughton, and it was a black and white image. I remember seeing it was weird, black and white telly until, God knows. So I remember Patrick Troughton. The only time I was interested in Doctor Who, and I think it's pertinent considering the profession me and Annette chose, was when the regeneration happened. I was really taken with this notion that it's the same character with a different physical appearance. Like that, as a child, that was really, and also from a technical point of view, you wanted to see how they did it.
Yes.
Without the scenery wobbling.
I think there's a lot of talk about the scenery wobbling, but
Yeah.
really wobbles.
Yeah.
We had a very professional, the scene guys who kept them up.
So they wobbled, but
Yes, this is very true.
Yep.
What do you think the biggest challenge is with Doctor Who as an actor? Is it you've got to suspend belief for a moment, or
Well, you have to
find the
read
truth of it?
something other, don't you? It's, I was saying earlier that it's a character. We're all aliens. We're all different. How to respond in a different room to someone new. We have many faces. So I think we relate to that in Doctor Who. And as an actor, you go, yeah, I think that's all of this. They will have traits that are different, but you can invest all of your human knowledge into the alien, because we're all the same. That's
yeah, that's brilliant. I wish you'd have directed me in that. Really?
Who is your favourite director?
oh.
I won't ask you your least favourite.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I can tell you already. Yeah. I think the hardest thing playing the role is if you don't do a second series, you can't look at the things you did wrong. I think that is very. I think if you watch every single Doctor, they get better in their second series because they go, oh, I don't have to try so hard, which is often a thing with actors. You're trying too hard. So that was difficult. There was a lot of professional pride in me going, I did, yeah. But it's the otherworldliness, how do you present that?
So what advice would you give an actor taking on the role?
I'd never give an actor advice. Do it without an agent would be my only advice for an actor. Keep the 20% for yourself.
if they cornered you down the path and went, Chris, I've just been asked to be Doctor Who, what's your advice? If they asked you for advice, what would it be?
Well, I'd say it's one of the greatest roles you'll ever play, and rely on your heart and your gut.
Good advice.
I think he's got he, it, she, they, whatever the Doctor it is, and what's wonderful, it can be anybody now. It is and always could. It's all about empathy, isn't it? I think he's an empath, an ultra empath.
And in the restaurant scene, in the restaurant scene, I knew you were an alien. I knew you were different and colder. And certainly Margaret was the first character to challenge the Doctor about his morals. But I just got a chill because I thought, oh.
I got a chill from Margaret though as well. I mean, for me and Annette, I think doing those scenes where we're in Cardiff Bay in a restaurant with the twinkly lights, and it was like we were in an Edward Bond play or something. There was an element. It was playful. It was flirtatious, but one was going to destroy the other. That's when he gets dark, when there's a threat to humanity, and then he'll kill you.
Yeah.
So would Margaret.
Yeah.
And that darkness is important, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, because we all have that in us. You know, it's manifest.
You have to have real jeopardy, don't
Yes.
you, in it? To counterbalance the lightness and the levity.
Because then, you know, us going and taking me, dinner in bondage works for me.
Yeah.
It's fantastic for an actor to do.
Yeah.
Did you have any, obviously just the one season, did you feel like if I'd done more, I would have been able to meet different monsters and famous monsters and things like the Master, for example? You didn't meet the Master on television.
I actually, I'm going to upset people here. I like it when, I mean, I did want to meet I always get the ones that look like, a bit like a baked potato, or a bit like fried chicken. For some reason, I think because they look like a baked potato and fried James, I wanted to meet them. They have hair coming out of their ears, as I do now, unfortunately. I liked it, you know, the Slovene were a new invention, and I think the series really benefits from people coming in and inventing new.
I think they were very deliberate on those part to start with.
Yeah.
They wanted a full stop, draw a line, and start again.
Yeah.
And therefore new characters, apart from the Daleks, of course.
I suppose I wanted to meet the Cybermen.
Cybermen.
The tier. I thought that was brilliant, that one tier. I thought you could get into some interesting mythology about survival and survivor's guilt and with the Doctor and that one tier.
Yes, absolutely. What did you think of the Daleks when you met them for the first time?
Oh, well, when we first met them, myself and Billy Piper were off shooting with a director who shall not be named, and we were about 3 days late, and we were running over, and we knew that we were supposed to wrap at 7 o'clock and be at a certain place at 7:30 to do the read-through for Dalek. And actors, if they're worth any salt, hate being late, if they're worth any salt. And me and Billy didn't get there till about 8 o'clock, not our fault. And we all ran in, and everybody sat round waiting for Billy and Chris. So we didn't really know what the setup was. We sat down, we started reading it, and it said, enter the Dalek, and then we heard the Dalek's voice. And we had no idea that Nicholas Briggs was under a table. Basically, we both shot ourselves. I mean, I was a 40-year-old man, and somebody was, oh! They're here!
He does do it brilliantly.
He does.
So there was talk of you doing the 50th anniversary.
Mm.
Did you ever talk to Stephen Moffat about that?
I did. Yes, Stephen sent me a script, and I've always controversially thought that the multi-Doctor stories are some of the weakest. I do. I think it appeals to the hardcore fan base, but if you're trying to make an original narrative drama, it just becomes a load of doctors being snarky with each other. And I think a drama, I think a drama needs to have a strong narrative thrust. And I read it, and Stephen I think he wrote my 2 best episodes. I understood Stephen's writing more than any of the writers I've heard. The Doctor Dances and Are You My Mummy, or whatever it was called. Sorry. And I was, I mean, there was a lot of baggage for me going back there as well. There would have been because of what had gone on. But I thought what I was going to do, it was going to be me and Matt and David being camped with each other, and I think it didn't appeal as a script. And actually, without me, you wouldn't have got John Burt as the Doctor, so thank you, Chris. I mean, the warm-up was, Stephen got me, with me refusing, and then his imagination made this leap. And I think it's better than me going back. John Burt the war doctor, a kind of incarnation of something great.
We were very lucky to do some of the last work that John Nov did. He did 12 episodes of War Doctor with Big Finish. And so he was wonderful to work with.
Did you ever work with John Hurt?
I started with Ladies of the Circle was the first.
No, really? Wasn't no introduction?
So it was fun because I was on the radio, I was on the audio near the end of his life.
You were in Naked. That totally changed my life. That show. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Jack Gold, brilliant director.
Jack Gold, yeah.
And John was just tiny part. He embraced us all, he was in the pub, not the French.
Have to be a number one.
Yes, absolutely. Good leader. Absolute.
I will say about John Hurt, when we announced we were doing War Doctor, I've never seen our inbox fill up so quickly from actors saying, I have to work with John Hurt. Because he was such high esteem.
David Warner was another one.
Yes.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that because we were very lucky that David really took to Big Finish. He did so many productions. In fact, he did so many productions we've only recently run out of productions we've been in because he stacked up so many with us. And you were opposite him in our 60th anniversary story, Once and Future. So what was it like?
Oh, that was
with
my
David?
favourite. That was
Yeah.
I mean, to work with David and myself were friends. We worked together on a project called Perfect Parents, which was directed by Joe Ahern, who directed, I think, 7 of 5 or 6 or 7 of my episodes. And that was the last time I ever saw David. We recorded all day together, had our lunch together, had a laugh. He was frailer than I remember. And at the end of the day, we walked outside and he just looked at me and said, I'm glad I've seen you. And I knew what he was saying, and within a couple of months he'd gone. So it's quite an emotional thing.
Yes, he was fantastic.
Yeah. That generation, John Hurt, David Warner, those lunatics.
Do you think we'll see their like again?
You've got to be in a net.
Yeah, we And since we're talking about audio, you're back working with Billy Piper with Big Finish again.
Yes, we've got it again.
In fact, we've got a little video of. Here we go.
We have the lights.
It was easy. The standard of, I've said this a lot at conventions, writers, particularly mine and Annette's generation, I think it's fair to say, were trained to put the writer at the centre of our work. The most important person in the industry for me is the writer. And the standard of writing in Big Finish is off the scale. I'm often amazed that the BBC have said, yeah, you can do that because we don't want to put it on, you know, they have to vet the things, don't they? And I think, why are you not stealing these things? Why are you not?
As if they would.
Why are you not, you know, like for instance, myself and, yeah. So, what was it like returning? It was easy. I've got an absolutely brilliant director, Helen Ritchie, who I work with all the time. He's a very talented actor, as well as being a very talented director. And we've really formed a shorthand, and we get really good actors coming in. So it's lovely.
I saw Helen doing Fiddler on the Roof recently, and an ensemble part, but brilliant.
And this is a director, one of the directors of Big Finish. She also played the Pollack, the abstract painter, Jackson Pollock, and his wife was obscured. Jackson Pollock. She was also an abstract artist, and she was obscured by his legend. And Helen recently played her, and got the greatest reviews you've ever seen. And the name will come to me before we leave the planet. I'm 62, so bear with me.
So, bearing in mind working with Billy recently on the audios, etc., did she ever mention coming back to Doctor Who on television? Or was that a bit of a surprise?
No, I was at a convention with Billy and she was asked about the big question, are you? And I pressed the ejector button for her to keep saying. No, she didn't, but she did let slip. I mean, when we met again, that hadn't happened. And I think that happened, as she said, quote unquote, very last minute.
Yes.
It was a very last minute decision, so she was in the dark, really.
When I look back at that, I realised because she was supposed to do a recording session with something else with us, and she cancelled. And they were like, oh, right, okay, we'll move it. And then we worked it back and went, oh, that's why she cancelled.
Right.
So, at this point, we should open this up to questions from the audience. So I think there's a microphone there. Hello.
Hello, Chris. Here.
Oh, hello.
We love you. I mean, without you restarting the Doctor, we wouldn't have had people like Tennant, David Tennant.
Who's he? It was Russell T. Davis who started Doctor Who.
Okay.
It's always about the writers. I got to be the tip of the iceberg.
But
Thank you.
You were quite a tip. I mean, that humor that you see in the clip and in the Big Finish productions too.
Yeah.
That's what's missing from some of the newest doctors. That quirky humor that carries on back, probably to Trouton's time and Pertwee's time. Well, anyway, my question to you is this, because you're probably posed this all the time. Would you ever think of going back to Doctor Who on television?
I think it's time for other people, and I think it's time for leveling up. What's been great is to see a female doctor,
Yes.
a doctor of colour. So I don't think the show should look back. I think the show should look forward.
Very young things like Thor, etc. Would you go back and play a villain?
Oh no. Listen, before Doctor Who, post Doctor Who, all I've ever played was villains. When I played the Doctor, it was the only chance I've ever had to play a hero. Seriously. It's the only time I've not played a psychopath. As my ex-wife will testify. So no. It'd be too meta for me.
I've got to say, I saw Shallow Grave a little while ago.
Exactly.
And I
He was
thought
cuddly, wasn't
he was very cuddly, yes, very good. Anyway, next question.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for sharing so much of yourself with your book that you had released, dealing with mental health and your relationship with your father. That means a lot to me. My doctor has always been Tom Baker, fourth doctor. However, you are equal. And
Nobody's equal to Tom Baker. Impossible.
it's not so much a question, but to share it very quickly. When I was 3 years old, I became a fan of Doctor Who with my father. He would come home from working at the steel mills, not too far from here, wash up, lay on the floor, and turn on the telly, and we would watch Doctor Who. Weeknights on PBS through here in Chicago. And my father died when I was 9.5, and it was such a strong connection for the two of us, and that I always remembered my entire life. When you came back, when you came as the doctor in 2005, my wife had already known the story about my father and I, and the connection and how much Dr. Who meant to me. We managed to get some copies of the first few episodes. I had popped it out in the living room to watch, and by the time the first episode, Rose, ended, she had walked into the living room, and she burst into tears and going, "Oh my God." And I looked down and realized my 3-year-old was up against the way I was with my father.
Wow.
And it just brought so much back. And the fact that he, unfortunately, with work, was not able to make it this weekend, and he really wanted to be here. So hopefully in March we'll get to see you in Chicago again.
Okay.
But just to tell you, thank you so much. Dr. Who has meant a lot in so many ways. And that's just one of the strongest connections I have with my son, and it was especially because of you as the doctor. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was wondering, given what's happening with the snow outside, what's the most memorable or worst weather you've had to work in your acting career?
Not on Doctor Who, but Wizards vs. Aliens. We were meant to be at an altar on a hillside, and we had to put up plastic sheeting, the rain was coming in, it was very cold, and then of course you could hear all it's battering, the plastic shifting. So we had to go and do what they call ADR and read it all, but that was the same world, so yeah.
I did a film, it changed my life, changed my career, a film called Let Him Have It. And we were on a roof in December in Perivale, which is this suburb. Oh. I can't believe there's somebody here from Perivale.
No, he's not from Perivale, he's actually a Perivale fan.
And we were on a roof in December doing night shoots. It was about 4 a.m. and we were suddenly told that we couldn't shoot anymore because the camera mechanism had frozen. I remember Barry Island. You weren't on Barry Island. Barry Island was tough. When we were doing, what was it? The Stephen Moffat was called The Doctor Dances and...
World War.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but we were at Barry Island. Again, it was like December. Ooh, that was cold, yeah. The crew were freezing. Yes.
Because they give us little heat packs to put on our backs and in our shoes, but they're out there with us and they don't get any of that.
Yeah, they don't get any special.
No, cool.
Yeah.
It made me remember something. So, Let Him Have It, which if you've never seen the film, is amazing. It really changed my thoughts and all other things. You played opposite Paul Reynolds in that.
My great friend Paul Reynolds.
And he did a Doctor Who with you.
He did, yeah.
And so did you keep in touch with him?
Yeah, we're still in touch. Yeah, we're great friends. Yeah, I love Paul. Amazing actor. Paul's one of those people. Paul started acting professionally at 14 and 15, and that's a real challenge to a human being to have your childhood kind of taken away and you become this thing of value within the industry. It's quite a challenge, and he's handled it. But yeah, that's an actor who should be working a lot more. Paul.
Yes, absolutely.
Hi. First, I just want to say there's so much hunger for you to come back to the show, and you have so much respect for the character and the show that you wouldn't want to come back unless there was a good reason to. And you left us wanting more, which I think is never a bad thing, and I have endless respect for you for that. I wanted to ask for Big Finish. I know you've acted with a couple previous companions. I know, for example, the Brigadier in the Cyberman story. Are there any other companions, especially after your time, that you think your doctor would have a lot of fun talking to and having a story with?
I think everyone wants to do something with Tom Baker. My favourite bit of publicity was when I was cast as Doctor Who. Somebody found Tom Baker and said, "Tom, what do you think about Christopher Eccleston playing the Doctor?" And he said, "Who's Christopher Eccleston?" My favourite. I just want to meet that fella, and shake his hand for that. I'm Christopher Eccleston, Tom. I didn't recognise you.
He would do if you bought him a drink down the pub.
Yeah. So, I'd like to do something with Tom.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. I don't think a lot of us will be able to outdo some of these previous questions, but I just wanted to know how wonderfully your doctor was able to have this great arc over your series, dealing with sort of the difficulties of overcoming PTSD and stuff like that, and sort of with this whole idea of the Time Lord. You really explore that in Dalek, where the Doctor has these very intense outbursts, and he's about to do all these things that are so very unlike him. Like, he pulls out this gun and he's gonna kill this thing that's...
I told you I played a lot of villains.
But I wanted to ask, was there did you do any sort of exploration into because I know you were going through your own mental health issues at the time. Did you sort of do any exploration into sort of PTSD or stuff like that to play to that?
I wasn't going to, I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to clear this up once and for all. I wasn't having mental health issues when I did Doctor Who, apart from working with a couple of directors. And a couple of, and a showrunner or two. No, I mean, it's been put together that I was in the throes of anorexia and this and depression. I wasn't. I'd overcome those things, so that's a myth. I wasn't. The only thing that happened on Doctor Who was the politics of the piece, which were horrendous. And my father, who had dementia at the time, was diagnosed with cancer, and he went into hospital for an operation. And that was very poignant because they were keeping Dad alive from cancer, but his quality of life was already very compromised because he was late stages of dementia. It was a very difficult thing, that. And my old fella, Ronnie Eccleston, was quite opinionated and passionate and all about justice. So seeing him so vulnerable in the hospital bed and then coming back and being confronted with the Dalek, I let the Dalek have it from my dad. That's the only thing. Use my anger right, yeah. But I wasn't ill during that time.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, I actually have a question that is not to do with Dr. Who, shocking I know. If you're going to interject right on me, that's fine. Chris, I wanted to ask you about, I'm a little bit emotional. I love the film that you made, New Orleans, Mon Amour, and I think it's a crime that it didn't get a bigger release. And I would like to ask you, what was that like for you to shoot New Orleans, Mon Amour, and have you been back to New Orleans since then?
Yeah, I fell in love with a woman in New Orleans when I made that film, and we're still great friends. I've been back many times, and Chicago, New Orleans are my two favorite cities in America. Except that in New York. Chicago's always been the place. When I was a child, I thought I want to go to Chicago. I don't know why. It sounds.
Is it the gangsters?
I think it might be Al Capone because of does anybody know Prince Buster?
Was he a jazz singer?
Prince Buster was one of the founding fathers of reggae music, and he did a track called Al Capone, and I listened to that in the early 60s, so Chicago and Al Capone, maybe it was that. What was it? Oh, New Orleans is amazing, and we shot this film, New Orleans, Mon Amour. Elizabeth Moss was the female lead. We shot it during the first anniversary of Katrina. So New Orleans at the time was very underpopulated. Most of the population were the criminals because everybody else left and they came back or stayed. And I've never drank so much in my life. That is a place to. I love New Orleans. I love NOLA. Yeah, and that was an independent film, and we shot down in the lower ninth. And it almost, if you look at the film now, it's a document of what New Orleans looked like within the first 12 months after Katrina. So it's valuable in that way as well. That's kind of why we shot it. It was low budget, and it was just to capture imagery and the truth of that disaster.
As a New Orleans, that was a gift that you gave us, and I will never be able to thank you enough for it. Thank you, sir.
Cool.
If Doctor Who was made into a musical, what do you think the main musical number would be?
Could you just repeat that? Sorry. What?
If your system Doctor Who was made into a musical, what do you think the main musical number would be about?
The Slovene, obviously.
Anybody farting?
Yeah, I'm pulling down my zip. I'm going
Yeah, but what about the Slovene?
My cancel now, my cancel. I'm pulling down my zip, I'm going on a trip. Yeah,
So, how are your two singing voices? Can you sing, both of you?
We're releasing an album. I wasn't supposed to say.
The Doctor sings.
Yeah. The Slovene dances.
But singers, can you sing?
Yeah, I can sing.
Oh.
Can you?
Have you ever thought about doing a musical?
I want to do a musical.
You
That's
want
all
to?
right. Yeah. I got kind of close to doing Sweeney Todd. And I want to do a musical with Steven Spielberg.
So this is
20 million?
You've asked the perfect question, you see. Look what you've opened here. Would it be about time travel, do you think? Or
Yeah.
the main number?
Yeah, I think it'd be about the unconsummated love between me, Margaret, and the doctor. It was like Romeo and Juliet, and finally at the end we have a little slip time lord. It'd be a miracle. A slip lord.
Actually, I thought the main number would just be about running.
Actually, it was, I think it might be Patrick Troughton gave advice to one of the doctors, after the 5 doctors, which was always wear comfortable shoes, playing the doctor.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Because that's the only advice he ever gave us, is comfortable shoes. Because you're spending so much time running around, you need good shoes. There you go.
Hi, I wanted to ask about the topic of queerness in Doctor Who, which obviously comes up a lot at this convention and others. There's certainly some moments in that season of yours that read as very queer and are queer with, with Jack, and then also people, what you talked about earlier, the idea of someone being the same person with a different physical form, and also kind of can be interpreted as sort of a trans narrative as well. And so I wanted to just your thoughts on the Doctor and their queerness over that.
Okay. I'm a little bit deaf, and there's an echo, so you're asking me about the queerness and the Doctor?
Yeah, the way that his interactions with Jack can be.
Well, it's been an interesting journey, hasn't it? Because one of the things I remember as a child was the female companions were often scantily clad. And even as a young kid, it was the same with the James Bond films. Being a male, of course, being a straight male, of course, I did enjoy that. But because my mum, who's 93, Elsie, who's still independent, and because my mum so clearly ran my life and was and is my hero, I always felt, even as a working class kid, I thought, why are women always one-dimensional and decorative, you know? And I think there was a big change with Russell T Davies, bringing with respect to others, I think the feminisation of Doctor Who probably started in 2005, and she saves him a number of times, and the introduction of Captain Jack. I think the show's all about that. I realised once I'd taken the role that the Doctor always had a huge following in gay communities, because he's an outsider. So it's great that it embraces everything, as the Doctor does. The central character does not have judgment. You're either decent or you're not, and if you're not, I'll sort you out. Thank you. Go to your room.
I was hoping you'd say that. But, I have a question I can use for both of you. Is there a moment in Doctor Who where you had to retake a scene like so many times you just got tired of doing it?
Never.
Yeah, because John Barrowman never learned his lines. That's the only time I remember it. Read the script, John. Oh, from laughter, you mean? Do you mean from laughter?
I mean from like anything.
We didn't have the time.
Oh.
I mean, the first series, the budget was, wasn't the budget that they had on the second series, and certainly not the budget they had on the last series. The first series was there was a lot of people thinking it was a folly. There was a lot of powerful people keeping their distance from it, and then suddenly, when it was a hit, they were like, I'm responsible for that. Welcome to the politics of television. So we didn't have that kind of time. You really, And it's true of television.
Yeah, I often tell people that when I did the first 2 eps, they used to have gaps, prep weeks for the prosthetics, you know, the makeup department. By the time I got back for Boomtown, that had gone. They were just chasing time all the way through every department, trying to prep and move forward.
Yeah.
Really tough stuff.
First series is always the hardest thing to do, I think, because you're trying to find a tone, you're trying to build a rapport between the actors, between the crew, and you've got that usual thing of, if it fails, it's got nothing to do with me, from the higher ups who don't know how to make television. They just know how to crunch numbers. Sorry.
And I suppose all those departments in Cardiff were brand new, because
That's
they hadn't
right,
done
yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah,
So
yes,
everyone
yeah.
who was recruited locally, they were doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
But it was very exciting.
It was very exciting. Very seat of the pants.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, back to you being talking about you being all the villains and psychopaths.
This is my son, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to denounce his dad, finally.
Okay, so back in Thor, when you were playing one of the villains, how was it like working with Chris?
Oh, Chris Hemsworth. He was an absolute gentleman, real gentleman, and that was a troubled production. They couldn't quite get the tone right on that particular film. No, Chris was great. You know, actors, if you're smart, you realise you've got a great role, and that there are hundreds of other actors that could have got it. It's so much of our industry is about luck. It's not about talent. If you get the part, and Chris really understood that. He had a gym on set. He had a trailer with weights in it. He had a trainer there. He had to do all that. But he's also a really good actor and a brilliant light comedian. So it was great. It was just I was in every day on that. I was in makeup for 6 to 7 hours every day. So yeah, I didn't expect that. They said to me, "There's going to be a little bit of prosthetics."
How do you get through that though? When you know you've got that every single day?
Drugs. Marijuana is really helpful. No, you just, they pick me up, they used to pick me up at 2:15 in the morning.
Ooh.
And then I'd be in the chair at 3, and I'd get out of the chair at 10. And then sometimes they wouldn't use me.
Did you sleep in the chair, or could you not because of what was happening?
No, and then the D-rig, taking it off, took 2 hours. I was a younger man then.
It is extraordinary prosthetics. And Dan
Yes.
Starkey, who was my hobgoblin,
Yes.
wonderful. I mean, and they're always active. They've always got to press something or push something or something's moving. So Dan did used to sleep. He'd go and, he'd be at 3 o'clock. And one day in the heat of summer in the studio, he had a huge nose and it started running. It was him sweating inside. A hole. So it was pouring out of the poor man's
What was that in?
Wizards versus Aliens. It's Russell as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's an extraordinary experience.
Another question.
Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. My question is, when Series 1 was being filmed in 2005, the discourse on mental health and the ability for people to have honest conversations about what they were going through was once upon a time absolutely forbidden. Absolutely forbidden decades ago. Now we're at a point where people can be much more open and honest about whatever experience that they're going through, and I think for a lot of us, Doctor Who was a huge part of being able to be empowered to have those conversations. When you were filming the role, did you have a sense that this was going to be as empowering as it ended up being?
No, I don't think so. It's funny remembering back to that time because as I said, my dad had dementia And that, certainly in the UK, has moved on. When we found out Dad had dementia, it really wasn't part of the conversation, similarly. So I know what you mean. There's been huge leaps forward, isn't there, in terms of, I mean, the thing, of course, I discovered myself after a breakdown was that the breakdown is one thing, but certainly in my country, the shame that is wrongly attributed with having a nervous breakdown, which really is, it's like breaking your leg. It's just a disordered brain chemistry, which means I always say, never trust anybody who's not had a nervous breakdown, because if you come back from it, I think there's so much more humanity to you and understanding and empathy for others, and you're very strong, I think, once you've built yourself up. So, but when did that start? When did that happen? I don't know. Between 2005 and now. It's just slowly grown, hasn't it?
Thank you for your answer, and thank you all for being here. And safe travels moving forward too.
So, I think we may have run out of time. Is that the case? I'm very sorry, but it's been delightful to talk to you both. And thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.